Thank you for coming. I'll be moderating this panel, but I thought it would be good to start with maybe a round of intros from everyone.
Yeah, my name is Ryan, founding partner of Hashed. Hashed is like one of the biggest investment firm around Asia. We are actively investing to US and Asia and outside the part. We're mostly interested in gaming and consumer-facing investments.
Great. Yeah, my name is Kelvin Koh. I'm the co-founder and CIO for Spartan Group. At Spartan Group, we do three things. We have an investment arm, which includes a liquid strategy and 2 venture funds. We also have an advisory business that works with the leading crypto companies to help them raise capital, do M&A, as well as restructuring. And then we also have Spartan Labs, which is our venture studio and consulting arm. Thank you.
Hey, this is Praneeth. I'm the co-founder and an investment partner at Ethereal Ventures, which is a Web3 focused venture firm that was set up by the former venture investment team at Consensus towards the end of 2020, start of 2021. And the intention has been to basically follow the same philosophy of backing really strong technical teams and domain experts and helping them build out sustainable and venture scale companies and networks.
Hi everyone, I'm Sanat. I work at Dragonfly. We're a crypto venture fund that was started in 2018. We invest across the crypto stack, including centralized exchanges, smart contract platforms, and across the application layer.
Yeah, I'll get started with the first question. My name is David, moderating here today. I started Open Crypto, which is a cross-border early-stage venture capital fund that focuses on consumer infrastructure as an investment thesis, and we also have a fund-of-fund vehicle that backs emerging managers. So the first question I would like to kick off is really, what brings you here today to India? What are you most excited about the region as a whole?
Basically, host Hash Emergence, our group. Basically, we are very into India market back to 2019 because, of course, there are so many developers that are coming out, and Polygon was a super successful case, and we believe a lot of the potential founder always stay here, but very not easy to highlight them. So we set up the separate team, Hash Emergent, and we have 15 people in Hash Emergent team, and now we are focusing on more like very infrastructure tech or SaaS business, B2B, because they are always strong for that last couple of decades. And also, we know over 350 million English-speaking users here. That means like a lot of potential founders. They're not just local founder, but they can become a global founder from day one. So that's why we encourage them, we evangelize them to move the founders to Web3 from early days, and we are making an ecosystem here.
Yeah, for us, or for me, this is actually my second trip to India in my entire life. Last time I was here was probably about 20 years ago. But I think India is at an interesting sort of juncture. Obviously there's a lot of developer talent here, and also a huge sort of population, right? And we're seeing a lot of Web3 games that are interested in coming to India and targeting the Indian audience. We also have 20 plus portfolio companies that we've invested in that are here, so it's a great time for us to also meet some of our portfolio founders. And then last but not least, we are obviously very well acquainted with the team at Hashed, and when they told us that they were doing IBW, we just had to come and support them.
It's I used to work in Bangalore for a bit. I used to travel between Bangalore and the US, like maybe about 7 or 8 years back. And it's good to see the city transform. But fundamentally, the city in and of itself, and maybe the broader Indian ecosystem as such, has just been like a hotbed for really talented people who are very hungry, very ambitious, and are capable of communicating with the world and can actually build products for a global scale. And that's what we've basically seen and invested in while we were at Consensus, like investing and supporting teams and founders like Juno, Polygon, Instadap, Parcel, and we continue to see that and want to keep supporting Indian founders out of the EV fund vehicle. And we support like 3 companies here. And I basically see that this is more of a preponderance for more consumer-focused applications, but there has been an increasing number of people who've been getting much more deep into the weeds, actually becoming protocol engineers and contributing to a lot of the core infrastructure and tooling that underpins a lot of blockchains today. So very, very bullish in that front.
Yeah, echoing what everyone else said, as well as, I grew up in Delhi, so I have like a personal vested interest in seeing Indian crypto founders succeed. Over the past 3 years that I've been a crypto investor professionally, I've made lots of friends in the Bangalore crypto community, both investors and builders. And it's actually like, I love the vibe. I love how many builders there are. I actually think Bangalore is a much better place to build a crypto startup than Singapore is, where I'm based. And so, yeah, just excited to continue those relationships and find interesting founders.
All right, I saw there's a lot of mention about all of you guys coming from super diverse backgrounds and different jurisdictions. So I would love to learn more about the regulatory landscape of where you guys are from and how that will impact venture capital as a space or potential India down the road. So kick it off.
Yeah, I'll touch on the Korean market first. As you know, like Korean market now is like one of the biggest retail market. Korean government didn't ban the retail market, not like China. So currently, like so many retailers are trading with high volume, but at the same time, also like so many the companies are moving into this space. For example, like Kakao, Naver, which is the biggest company in Korea, they already issued their own token and they launched their own L1. Also, the biggest game publisher and the studios like Nexon and Marble, or like Krafton, which is the studio of PUBG. They're preparing a Web3 game after Xe success. They're all impressed about that, and they're all like building the token economy with their successful game. Also, many financial institutions, like the biggest the banks in Korea, KB or Hana, they are now preparing to serve custody service, and SK and Hanwha, like conglomerates, are all like coming into this market. So, but at the same time, like there are so many institutions there, but the founders are a little bit slow to pick up because basically Korea is a little bit local. So very not easy to become a global founder. The regulatory perspective, Korean government is basically nurturing like industry, but also at the same time they want to prevent the scam and fraud. So a little bit cautious, but basically we are very positive about the Korean government to make the crypto-friendly policies.
Yeah, so Spartan has offices in across Asia, but mostly we're in Singapore and Hong Kong. I personally sit in Hong Kong, and Hong Kong's an interesting market because it is obviously one of the key financial centers in Asia, just like Singapore. But Hong Kong's really sort of lost a lot of talent to Singapore over the past couple of years, partly because of the political changes with China, as well as because of its very strict COVID policy. But about a year ago, with the new administration, things have started to change. Hong Kong started to open up and become more business friendly again. And they've also made a big push to get into Web3, right? So they now have a formal framework for exchanges and any service providers to get licensed in Hong Kong and operate legally. The government is very, very supportive. They're providing space, they're providing grants, they're trying to attract good developers to set up in Hong Kong. We're seeing a lot of mainland Chinese developers and teams moving now to Hong Kong because obviously China has a very different policy where crypto is banned today, but I'm hopeful that through what China is doing via Hong Kong, because Hong Kong had to get the approval of China to be a crypto hub, they will see over time the benefits of Web3 and ultimately give themselves the comfort to gradually open up China to the industry as well.
So when I think about Germany, I think it's not a very pleasant place right now because it's minus 10 degrees. But in general, Germany and maybe Berlin has been home to a lot of like the original ethos behind the crypto community in some way, shape, and sense. So that's basically been the place where Ethereum started. That's where Polkadot and the Cosmos Foundations also have their home in one way, shape, and sense. And there's a very, very deep sense of freedom and libertarian principles that are at play, and that I guess generally gravitates a lot more developers and development teams to sit and work out of Berlin. There's obviously been more of an exodus of these people to other more tax-friendly or climate-friendly places, but in general, Germany and maybe Europe has been more progressive in terms of getting out a more, should we say, consistent set of rules around MiCA and how service providers can actually start getting virtual asset service provider licenses and e-money licenses. And so the rules are a little strict, but there seems to be a roadmap towards getting that and working with regulators hand in hand to get to that point. So in that sense, yeah, I think it's hopefully like a good place for people to kind of consider, especially if they're planning on working hand in glove with regulatory agencies.
Yeah, I'm usually based in Singapore, and I think Singapore is a pretty friendly place to set up a crypto business. Largely, a lot of entrepreneurs at least choose to situate their official entities in Singapore. But I guess this question is also useful in the context of India because I think regulations have at least made the centralized exchange ecosystem harder to access over the last year in India. But I always kind of remember that among founders that I've seen, Instadap, Parcel, Claystack, Brahma, these are teams that are just based out of India and build an Ethereum protocol, and no one can stop you. Like, you don't need centralized exchanges. And I actually think it's been a huge opportunity for them to essentially build global financial platforms sitting from Bangalore. And so I think I've seen a lot of conversation around regulation, and I think it's useful to remember that no one can stop you from building an Ethereum protocol anywhere in the world.
All right. Moving on to really the recent big buzzwords are like AI, ML, and all of these new sort of frontier technologies. Have you guys invested at the intersection of these new technologies, and how do you think it will affect sort of the future of Web3 and blockchain as a whole?
So basically, AI, the area is too big to touch, but basically, we are very interested in the IP sector specifically. Basically, AI can help the cost down especially for the many contents area. So that means usually so many the creators have to buy a lot of tools. They have to buy a lot of devices to make the good contents. But now the AI can help any type of people, they can make very high qualified contents. That means I feel the more opportunity will come in media side because so many media can fill a lot of contents with high qualified contents. And basically, we are looking at many animation sector or drama, movie, and gaming. And if you think about a gaming, if you want to make a AAA game, you need to spend a lot of money to make a lot of NPC, the character, or a lot of background. But now it's I think a handful team can make a very high qualified game. So yeah, we are looking at the kind of the tools and gaming with AI.
Just a fun thing. Can I get a show of hands? How many people have watched the latest Mission Impossible movie, Dead Reckoning, Part 1? Yeah, me too. I saw it on the flight in. I thought it was interesting movie, partly because of all the stunts and so on and so forth, and of course Tom Cruise, right? But I couldn't help noticing in the movie that, obviously AI had a big component in the movie, but also, there were a few references to, crypto and blockchain, right? In terms of transferring of funds and so on and so forth. So I thought that was, interesting because it's also, movies typically, try to portray what's going to happen in the future, how things are going to evolve. They're not always right, but they're always very topical. And for many years now, I've looked at AI and crypto, and I think those are the two defining technologies over the next, 10, 20 years. And you can also see that in the numbers in terms of how much venture funding is going into AI and to Web3. I don't think we should think of the investments as mutually exclusive, but it was interesting for me, at least, to have seen the launch of ChatGPT, and it happened in November of 2022, right? Right after FTX, collapsed, and obviously, for the last 12 months, AI has sort of sucked up a lot of mind share. It was also interesting to see a couple of crypto funds sort of pivot to become AI funds. Obviously, the guys that are sitting up here have no intention of doing anything like that. But we've also seen quite a number of crypto companies applying AI technology into crypto, right? Whether that's a gaming project using AI to try to speed up the creation of the game, or the introduction of AI agents into things like ERC 6551, or even using AI to help you scrape information from Discord or the different social channels to try to help with the investment decision making, right? So we've invested in a few projects that leverage AI, but are complementary with crypto.
I think just to add on to that, there's, it's just highlighting the fact that AI will play an increasingly important role in crypto fundamentally. I think one of the things that was really interesting for me when I was kind of early, in my early days dabbling in crypto, was to consider the notion of more intelligent machine agents, or essentially having like fully closed loops where agents could essentially act on information that was on-chain and off-chain, and fundamentally make changes to state that was reflected on a shared substrate like a blockchain system. And if I think about that and extend the analogy to things that we actually see in the real world, like for instance like central banks and how they set rates in response to how the economy kind of works, I see a close analogy in terms of actuating things that fundamentally matter to economies, be it on-chain or off-chain, and regulating those with the help of agents. And so, to the points raised earlier, I think we've seen some of our portfolio companies basically deploy zero-knowledge machine learning models to basically help facilitate the creation of NPCs and fully on-chain games, or basically have some companies that are working on deploying machine learning models that could look at state history and basically help predict rates for DeFi protocols. And so I think this is bound to be more of this intersection that we would see, and hopefully get to the point where we could have more open, decentralized AI across the board.
Yeah, I think at an academic level, I sort of agree that I can see lots of interesting ways in which crypto intersects AI. At a literal level, though, I feel like at least a lot of the pitches we've seen this year have been pretty bullshit, for lack of a better word. And so we're open-minded, but I think there's a class of products being built that are just not great products. Like, we've seen a lot of distributed computing platforms. A lot of them have gone funded. And when we dug in, we just think that these founders aren't thinking about who's the end user of their product intelligently enough, and are just building extremely expensive systems. And in fact, the tokens are doing quite well, so maybe we're missing something. But broadly, we have been, I'd say currently we're quite unimpressed with the suite of AI x crypto ideas we've seen, but we remain open-minded, obviously.
All right, so since we're all VCs here and we're running a bit out of time, what is one last piece of alpha you would like to share with the crowd? Alpha, or investment advice, whatever you guys want. Or contrarian thought, whatever you guys.
Yeah, I was invited to speak at a family office conference in Hong Kong about 2 months ago, and it was a big event, one of the biggest in Asia, and there were about 400 to 500 people in attendance, mostly the TradFi crowd. So lots of private bankers, lots of family offices were there. And they had obviously a whole full day of talks about different asset classes, fixed income, real estate, private equity, bonds, and so on, equities, and so on and so forth. And then one of the later panels was obviously crypto, which to them was kind of like a real alternative asset class, very fringe. And I was asked to make a prediction, and I said that crypto would be the best performing asset class over the next 2 years. Suffice to say, I don't think a lot of people in the audience sort of believed me, but yeah, we're bullish about markets. I think market conditions are very similar to what we saw back in late 2019, 2020, and I think the people that have survived the last 2 years, the very difficult 2 years since Terra, will obviously reap the benefits of that, and the industry will continue to grow and flourish, and hopefully take the shine off AI too.
I guess looking back to at least my investing origins in the crypto space, I think we are now at a point where there is a lot more fundamental tooling that is available to developers. It simply did not make sense to kind of create more like user-facing applications, if one might call it that. I think a lot of applications that we have in crypto are fundamentally very developer-focused, and it makes sense. I think that is something that will keep continuing, but I think we are at a point where we can start thinking about building applications that can involve a lot more segments of both retail and institutional participants, and I think we are at that point. And like one piece of maybe alpha to the question in that sense is, if I generally think about like more institutional involvement in the space, I think institutions might also end up caring about privacy. And what we have fundamentally today are fully like transparent, pseudonymous on-chain systems, but I think embedding privacy in blockchain applications, thinking about private state, thinking about how privacy actually impacts engineering decisions is going to be a very, very big thing that we will slowly start encountering. And so if people are interested in trying to kind of think about utilizing and new classes of privacy techniques, I think there's going to be some pretty interesting work that might be coming out. So.
Yeah, I guess I would just, given conversations I've had with founders yesterday and today and earlier during the week, I guess one thing I would say is that it's important that, like, crypto is magical coordination technology, and I think most founders would be well advised to make sure that what they're building almost could not be built without crypto. And I think that leads to kind of much more successful products than ones where you're kind of trying to insert crypto into something where it doesn't really belong.
Yeah, I recently traveled to Abu Dhabi and also Europe, and I recently moved to Singapore and now in India. I feel like a lot of energy are moving from moving to this region. So I feel very good energy here. So I want to share most of the innovative energy is already here. So I hope everyone here stay focused on building, and no matter what, there's a bear market or bull market, just keep focusing on the building, and that's how we can make our alpha.
All right, sounds good. That's it. That's a wrap. Thanks, guys.
Folks, can we